Personal credit is scary for a lot of people because it means you have access to money and you can pay thousands in interest for borrowing. The first thing that people should remind themselves is why you're taking credit, and the reason is simple. You want to stretch out your monthly cash flow. Instead of draining your savings, investments, or the paycheck you just received, you put that emergency expense or large purchase on the credit card. I want to give people some viable options if you're looking for credit, or if you already have a credit card, or if you already have credit and want to restructure or consolidate your debt. I hear a lot of people say that APRs are marketing. They're honestly not. Banks are upfront with the interest they will charge you if you read the fine print, which is incredibly honest compared to a lot of other shady business tactics. And you might be thinking, what's the catch? Well, you are the catch because if you frivolously spend, you will be in debt to all these banks for a long time. With my insider information, I hope you can make better credit decisions and learn about some valuable resources. The first question I ask people is, what are you trying to accomplish with the credit? People have various answers. Traveling, rewards, building credit, making a large purchase, maybe investments, which is the riskiest business investment anyone can make. Whatever your reason is for a credit card, you always make sure it has to be the right choice for short-term and long-term benefits. What I recommend is that people have 3 types of credit cards and never close the credit card you've had the longest history with. The 3 types of credit cards you should have are a rewards card, a travel card, and an emergency card for larger expenses. The most daunting and gut-wrenching part about credit are the high APRs. You will not have to worry about APRs unless you have maxed out your credit line and have no means to pay this off. The second thing people are afraid of is not qualifying. Fortunately for you, there are many creditors who are willing to extend credit to people who have no history, or you can be put on as a cosigner so you can start building credit when you're ready for better credit cards. An annual percentage rate, or APR, is the daily interest rate multiplied against the drawn balance of the loan or the line of credit. I know that sounds complex, but with any loan, there's a daily interest rate that should add up to the APR if you were to add up all these numbers together. The good news is that any interest that you carry month to month does not compound. Compounding interest is accruing interest on interest. So as long as you make your minimum monthly payments, these interest rates will not be compounding, leaving you in debilitating debt. If you make any payment with a large balance, always pay more than the minimum payment. So what if you already have debt and you're dying because of these high interest rates? This is not a sponsored video, but just my experience in the industry. You have a few options on how you want to restructure your debt. The first option is to simply get a 0% promotional APR credit card with no rewards. These credit cards exist for the purpose of transferring debts from one card to another. There are only 3 cards that I recommend for this. The first is US Bank's Shield Visa with a whopping 24-month term with 0% interest. US Bank is also one of the best banks to qualify for credit because their credit guidelines are much more lenient compared to larger banks like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, and Citibank. The next 2 credit cards are at its high because they offer 0% interest for 21 months, a year and 9 months. Wells Fargo Reflect and Bank of America's Bank AmeriCard. This is an amazing offer if you're trying to consolidate your debt and prefer working with larger banks. But in my personal opinion, US Bank is infinitely better because your payments are going to be interest-free for 24 months. That is 3 extra months that will alleviate your time and money. The second option is a personal loan. Most of the time, people struggle with knowing where to go for a personal loan. SoFi is one of the best personal loan lenders with the lowest rates and best amortization schedules that's upfront with the cost and monthly payments. Lightstream, which is a division of Truist Bank, offers competitive rates close to SoFi, but I am unfamiliar with them. The last one is Wells Fargo, with starting interest rates a little below 7%. As far as I know, these interest rates are the lowest in the market if you're trying to look for consolidation. The third and last option you should consider is a debt consolidation plan. If you have high debt, you most likely have gotten a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, we can consolidate your debt. Give us a call." Unfortunately, these are for-profit scams. To give you a quick idea, these debt consolidation companies advertise themselves as debt consolidators, when in fact they settle your debt. Settling a debt is jargon for default on your credit cards. When you settle on your credit cards, you default, then a lawsuit follows after if it's not resolved. What they do is they funnel your payments to an account, and once the funds go into the account, they settle with your creditors. After a settlement has been reached, your creditor will charge off your credit cards, which is a default. Then these debt settlers take their fee. They do this for every car you settle. It is predatory, and unfortunately, many Americans fall into this marketing scheme and crippling business strategy. Not only that, but on top of the debts that you currently owe with your creditors, there's typically a 15 to 25% fee tacked on top of the debt settled. So be wary of this marketing scheme. If you're looking for a debt consolidation, look for nonprofit organizations because they are legally required to cap fees and costs to make sure this is benefiting you. If you're unsure about signing with these companies, my recommendation is to speak with a lawyer. My other recommendation is to put any of the contracts into an AI. The AI will let you know if it is a settlement or a true consolidation. But be wary of AI, as AI is biased based on human programming. For every debt you take, I always recommend looking at an amortization schedule or a debt schedule. These are just fancy words for saying this is what your terms look like with the principal payments and the interest payments month to month until the debt has been paid completely off. Unfortunately, credit cards don't have a debt schedule because their APR is variable, meaning that it can affect the daily interest rate. However, with modern technology, an AI can at least draft an amortization schedule for you so it can calculate how much interest and principal you will be approximately paying every month until that credit card is paid off. The other thing you should consider when taking a fixed APR debt is looking at a term and rate. A shorter term means a lower rate but higher payments, but a longer term means a higher rate and lower payments. All of it depends on how much interest you'd like to pay on your asset secured loan. In summation, the only way to combat surmounting amounts of debt is to live below your means. If you have questions on credit cards, personal loans, or asset-backed debt, please leave a comment or send me an email so we can discuss the details on this. I hope to see you on my next video. Thank you for watching.